お尻叩くとすっごくいい音が鳴る。
Top 10 new animes of 2022. Even though we are only halfway through 2022, we already have good enough anime to organize a top 10 new anime list of 2022 list. If you have been out of touch with the anime community, here's your cue to watch the hottest stuff out there and jump back right into the anime scene. Well then, shall we begin? Number 10. SABIKUI, BISCO. The story shows us a post-apocalyptic Japan. Civilization has been ravaged and the land is now infertile, all because of a particular disease. The general notion is that this catastrophic tragedy was brought upon by certain mushroom spores, and in accordance with this assumption, a man named BISCO Akoboshi has been marked an S-tier wanted criminal. He has also been dubbed man-eating mushroom. Everyone simply believes that he's the one who grows those mushrooms. However, it was the furthest thing from the truth. This man was just out on a journey to find a rare mushroom that can finally revert things back to their former state. Until then, he just keeps moving forward. Number 9. The Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt. Here we have a story about the genius prince ending up to saving his nation from collapsing and helps it attain unimaginable glory and prestige. We are talking about the former prince of Natra, who inherited the kingdom from his father. Little did the king know his son would rather auction the kingdom and sell it off to the highest bidder instead of being wise and righteous king he thought his son would be. But until then, the kingdom's value must be increased, and for that goal, he tries to raise its value. Though each time he does something, his plans always end up surpassing his expectations. Just like that, his kingdom keeps getting stronger.
では手短に降参します。は？あわよくばなどと思ったのが傲慢だったのか。ともあれ、私はこの件を利用して成り上がることを諦めました。あんたが上京してきたの10年前よね。
そうやけど
別れた女に子供ができたのも知らず出戻ってみりゃ10歳になった娘と再会ってパターン。
盛大に勘違いしてるぞ。
Number 8. DEAIMON. DEAIMON, as the term implies, is a recipe for happiness. It's a genuinely wholesome and easygoing slice of life about a young man who returned to his home in Kyoto after 10 years and takes over their family Japanese sweet shop. And since his father is currently being hospitalized, he is also supposed to look after the supposed successor, a young green-haired girl named Itsuka. The story follows their daily antics, so if you want a peaceful anime to go with your evening tea, this is it.
ほら、手。お？なんや？
今日はありがとう。なごむさん。第4ゲームが始まるまで少し時間があるから一時的に解放してあげるよ。もちろん。
なごむよ。逃亡禁止だから。
Number 7. Tomodachi Game. Here we have an anime that bases its premise around friendship, except it's about the dark side, the betrayals, the ill wills, and the narcissism. There is a group of friends who get dragged into playing the Tomodachi game. They can't refuse because they are 20 million in the red, and if they don't play the game, they have no way of paying off this debt. It's one of those stories where things get exponentially more entertaining the further along you are in the story. So watch the anime, and if you enjoy it, check out the manga. It's miles better.
心木、この際だからはっきり言っておくけどな。俺はお前みたいな自分で何一つ決められないような人間が世界で一番嫌いだ。消えろ。もうお前に用はない。
Number 6. AKEBI'S Sailor Uniform. AKEBI'S Sailor Uniform is an aesthetically pleasing slice of life. It's about a young girl named AKEBI who has always been infatuated with sailor uniforms. Naturally, she also wanted to start wearing one, but the renowned school she enrolled into no longer has sailor uniforms. Luckily, they make an exception just for her, and Akebi gets to wear sailor uniform. From there on out, it's all about Akebi's school life, the interesting friends she comes across, and the sketchy side of youth. To put it simply, this anime is wonderful.
姉ちゃん、いつもと違う。今、全力出して頑張ってる。カオ、そんな正直に言わなくていいんだよ。
Alright guys, I'm going to ask you a quick question. Who is your favorite waifu or husbando of 2022 so far? Share your answers in the comments down below, and I'm looking forward to them. Also, like and subscribe, it's always appreciated. Well then, let's get back to the list. Number 5. Aoashi. Who knew we'd be getting a sports anime of this level right before the much anticipated release of Blue Lock? Brought to us by Production IG, the same studio that has brought us the likes of Haikyuu and Kuroko no Basket, Aoashi captures the innate beauty of football. The story follows a young rural boy named Ashito Aoi who gets himself removed from the team because of his violent behavior. Unfortunately, his team loses without him and he gets all doom and gloom. But just when he is lamenting, just running himself raged, a peculiar yet ambitious man from Tokyo enters the fray. Now, how will the story go from here on out? Guys, if you're a sports fan, you should not miss this one out. Number 4. Summertime Render. Summertime Render is a heart-wrenching story of a man who continuously tries to get a future where he, his friends, and his family can all survive and continue on with their peaceful lives. Now remember Subaru? And how he always had to die numerous number of times before he eventually found the way to set things right. Well, this anime is somewhat similar in its approach. Each time the protagonist dies, it triggers a time loop, unless or until he gets to a future worth living in. He will keep suffering. That is the tragic premise of this anime. Number 3. My Dress Up Darling. There is hardly anyone in the anime community who hasn't heard about My Dress Up Darling. The plot is relatively simple. There is a high school student named Wakan Gojo who is quite passionate about sewing clothes. He makes clothes for his dolls all the time, though he is kind of an introvert and has never really mentioned this hobby to anyone. That is until Manen Kitagama, an extraordinarily beautiful and charismatic girl, finds out about his hobby. But instead of bursting out into laughter, she confesses that she herself also has a similar hobby. She loves to cosplay, and just like that, their paths intertwine. As Gojo starts making clothes for her and their relationship begins to evolve, a subtle yet pleasant romance begins to take shape.
Hi, 俺もすごく楽しいです。
程度の論戦ならば吐いて捨てるほどの王に対しあなたは志の重みを分かっていない。
Number 2. Ya boy KONGMING. Hey, it's your boy KONGMING! No, seriously, the legendary tactician from the era of the Three Kingdoms was breathing his last few breaths. All his life he knew of nothing but endless war, and so in his final moments he wishes to be reborn in a more peaceful time. His wish is heard and he wakes up in modern day Japan. Soon enough he comes across a singing performance by Eiko Tsukimi. The man is enthralled. Though of course he is still as confused as a man can be, Eiko takes a notice to it and decides to teach him more about the world. From there on out, he starts acting as her manager and uses his over 9,000 IQ to lure in vast numbers of people to Eiko's singing shows. Things are about to get interesting. I'd say this anime is definitely not worth missing out on. Number 1. Spy X Family. Finally, we have the biggest and most appreciated new anime of 2022. Spy X Family is an anime whose hype dwarfs even the hype of many of the other sequels to already renowned series, but the story, as y'all know, follows an odd family that abruptly takes shape because of a reason. The dad is a spy, the mom is an assassin, and the daughter is an esper. The other two are unaware of each other's secrets, except for the daughter, Anya. It's wholesome, it's comedic, it's something you can't help but get enamored by. Definitely the kind of anime that you can recommend to your normie friends to get them into this medium. So there you have it, folks. These were the top 10 new animes of 2022. What you guys think of these animes? Have you watched them, or are you planning on watching them? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. Press that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, and leave a comment saying I subscribed, and I'll personally reply to your comment. Also, don't forget about my question from before. Well then, I'll see you guys on my next video.